thanks a lot for joining and welcome to my channel. Can we start with a small introduction from your side?
Yes, thank you so much for having me here. My name is Myra Grace Simon, as you know. I belong to Delhi. I was born and raised in Delhi. Currently, I'm in Bangalore. I'm currently working with Mindtree as an associate director in digital transformation. I have total work experience of almost 18 years now, and I have been working in different industry types. Right, I have been associated with ITES, banking, and then moved into IT per se, and then I wanted to get into project management because I felt at that point of time that project management was something which was really important, and I got an opportunity to get trained on PMP in Bank of America, and it became a passion for me at that point of time that I felt that everything was so structured because I was looking for structure, and then I said that I really want to get into project management from the IT perspective, and then I moved into Meritrack. Meritrack is one of the organization pan India which does skill assessment. So they conduct examination, they create questions bank. Right, I did project with Steel Authority of India. I did project with HCL. I did project with NIFT, which is the Fashion Technology Institute. So what we did was we conducted pan India exam for them, even government of Jharkhand, right? So we got into. So my work was that I was creating the online application form and how you download your admit card, getting the test centers in place, getting the question paper designed and everything. So that was my work, and that from there on I went into HCL. Prior to that, I was working for banking backend, Bank of America, HSBC, and then I moved into Meritrack, where I got into typically IT scenario, and then from there on I went to HCL. In HCL, I was taking care of end user computing, all digital workplace. Did a lot of transformation for a lot of clients. I was in US. Got to do a lot of transformation for Warner Music Group. They're
Mhm.
based out of New York and California. And then I got the opportunity to work for FMCG client and a retail client. It was a big bit of challenge in my career, but I must say that I got to learn a lot. And then I took a break because I wanted to just do some kind of retrospect of my own career because I felt that I was running too fast in my
Mhm.
career, and I wanted to see that where exactly do I want to take my career from there on. And I took a break, but it was not a break at that point of time. I actually was doing consulting for different digital transformation projects for different clients as a freelancer, and I also took my TOGAF certification and Agile project management certification. Ideal, I had many certifications, so I thought that let me get into sharing my experience, right? That how my experience has been. And I think the training gave me the platform to share my experience. And it actually gave me an edge in my comeback. So I came back again
Mhm.
after my break, and I joined Mindtree as an associate director, currently taking care of digital transformation for one of my clients for their consumer services portfolio, where we are doing all this contactless um, uh, journey for our customers. So that is what I'm currently doing.
Oh, oh, so rich experience.
Yeah, I must say that it's I'm fortunate enough to get exposed to several industries because I have seen that even though you are with one client, right,
Mhm.
you're working for one organization, people tend to not explore, right? I think
Yeah.
that versatile being versatile is one of the keys which would really take you longer, because today when I sit at the table and people ask me questions, right,
Mhm.
I can answer questions related to any field because I have got exposed to that. So I think that is really something which I really feel that yes, I did a good thing of getting
Yeah.
exposed to everything, because a lot of people used to tell me that, no, why are you changing the industry? Because I always used to walk up to my boss and say that I am done with this project, give me something else. because I wanted to understand that how different industry work, because IT is common throughout, right? IT is
Yeah.
something which is going to play a role in any industry. So I wanted to understand that what are the critical things which are actually a very something which the IT person should be looking at. And when I started my career, right, I was very ambitious since my childhood days, and I always used to feel that when I grow up the ladder, right, I should know things on ground. I should not be somebody who's just talking from 30,000 feet. I should be
Mhm.
able to converse and say that yes, somebody says that okay, she knows what she's talking about. So I think just destiny took me that way.
Cool. You said you are working on digital transformation
Yes.
for Mindtree. Like, what
Yeah.
does that mean? What does it involve?
Yeah, so digital transformation for say very simple thing I would say, right, that we were doing cash payments, right? Today
Mhm.
we use Google Pay, we use Paytm, right? So
Yep.
that's digital. We are going digital. When we travel, we used to have boarding passes, right? We used to take a printout of our ticket. We used to take boarding pass of our ticket, and then used to take printouts and everything. Now today you can have your boarding pass as a pass, right? That's you're transforming digitally.
Mhm.
And on the same lines, today when I'm doing digital transformation, if somebody hires a car, they have to go and collect the key. But today, being in this pandemic era, you cannot have a touch with another human because of the risk of catching the virus, right? So we are making it contactless, where the person doesn't even have to touch. It's a box which you can open through your app, take out the key, and then just walk away with the car once you have rented it out. So for me, digital transformation is that you are trying to transform the way you do your business with usage of emerging technologies, but that is not something which ends there. You align your business and your ID to meet your desired objectives.
Okay. So you help them reorganize their setup for
Yes,
enabling this
there are
digital.
many things which you have to do. Like you have to ensure that you have a new business model altogether, because your business processes will change, right? It is not going to stay the same. So
Right.
you need to ensure that you're creating your full-grown process maps, and you're understanding that where exactly do I have the opportunity to
Mhm.
remove the non-value add and also automate it, so that I can bring in more efficiency and save cost as well. But I feel that today everybody is looking at digital transformation in a very different way, right? Earlier
Mhm.
everybody was looking at digital transformation to save money, but today we are looking at digital transformation to have contact less. Maybe you go to the hotel, right? You have to walk to the hotel, you want it contactless. You go to the airport, you want contactless. You are buying clothes, you want everything to be contactless. So there is a paradigm shift which has happened in last 2 years, right? That we are looking at transforming in a different way. Today nobody is saying that I want to cut down on my cost, my labor cost, right?
Mhm.
Everybody is looking at the I want to make it contactless, I want to make it a digital experience. So when we are looking at the digital experience, like I gave you the example of my current client where we are doing this transformation, we have to look at transforming their entire business process. Because obviously, earlier we used to tell the person who's going to rent a car that please walk up to the counter and collect the key. Today,
Mhm.
we are not telling him to walk up to the counter, right? Maybe we are telling him and giving him instructions to do something on the app and then collect the key, right? So the entire business process has changed. And in the same way, you're going to design your business data application and technology architecture, that whatever changes you want to do. So everything revolves around that.
Oh, so you get like a customer comes to you with almost no digital infrastructure, and you help them get into a state where a lot of things are digitized and you have
Oh, yes.
more of a contactless.
Yes.
Okay.
In case if anybody does not have any kind of digital expertise in their organization,
Mhm.
so I can definitely go ahead as part of my organization,
Okay.
obviously, that we will counsel them, we will consult them that what is best for them. Like I did in 2019, Bahrain Airport came up with the RFP that they wanted to actually transform their IT, right? They
Mhm.
were moving from old airport to the new airport, but they wanted to change their entire way the IT works, right? They wanted to transform everything. And we used enterprise architecture to actually propose them that how they can actually align their business and IT, because everything was scattered for them, right? And they were not using their systems properly. There were a lot of systems where they were spending money on the license cost and also server cost. So we said that this is the best way for you to define your business processes and then align the applications accordingly. And then on the basis of whatever application you're using, and then you take that what kind of data bases or data models you will be using, and then you decide on what kind of infrastructure you want. So we change everything for them. They had never got introduced to this transformation word, right? They thought
Mm.
that we want to bring efficiency, but they did not know how to bring efficiency.
Okay, that's interesting. Must be interesting task.
Yeah, I think that is something which has really made my work more interesting, because I'm not doing the same stuff, right? Every now and then I have something else to look forward to, another challenge, another scope of work, another client who's actually wanting to do transformation. So
Mm.
that entire thing I think has changed for
Yeah.
last 2.5 years once this pandemic came. But yeah, unfortunately, it's not going that great for the world. But yeah, for IT industry, this
Yes.
is a booming time at this point of time. You can understand yourself as well, right? That there are so many job opportunities for developers at this point of time,
Yeah.
program managers, portfolio managers, enterprise architects. So there's opportunities and opportunities everywhere.
How
Hmm.
long does it take usually? Few years
There is a
or?
definite time for it. It depends from organization to organization. So let's say that you build a business roadmap. Let's say Amazon wanted to move into e-commerce platform. That is where it
Mm.
all started for us to buy clothes online, right?
Yeah.
So they did not go ahead and launch mobile app, right? There is a roadmap which they would have defined that first we will create, we will ask people to call and place
Mm.
orders, right?
Yeah.
Then they moved into website, then they moved into mobile app, and now they are talking about drone deliveries. So it is all about how your business strategy is. So let's say that you're doing that entire transformation. It might happen that you are setting up an architecture practice who's going to bring in innovation so that
Mm.
you can have a competitive advantage in the market. It might take 6 months for you to only set up the architecture practice, and then you
Okay.
start working on the project. Now it depends on, if it's a big scale project, it's a global organization, it can take around 2 years for us to even align the business processes with the emerging technologies, designing the entire architecture. So that can take a lot of time. The implementation can also take a lot of time. Maybe you are designing your architecture, it just takes 6 months, but implementing it might take 1 year. So there is no definite time. It all depends from organization to organization, whether it's a large size organization or a medium or a small. It all depends on the size, complexity. There are many factors which
Okay.
you have to take into
But you
consideration.
are involved till the end of the implementation phase, or you just get them started and you come out of it?
So I started with implementation, but today
Okay.
I'm actually looking at everything, the development side of it and designing, and then implementation, and also managing. So you can say that I'm creating the capability and also running the capability.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice. And another thing you said you're doing is teaching.
Yes.
You still teach or you have
Yeah,
stopped?
yeah, I am still teaching. I
Okay.
think I've trained almost 3,500 people in last 3 years across the
Oh,
globe.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And with, I think, 99.99% passing rate for everybody.
That's good.
Did you pass your exam?
Actually, I didn't give it.
Oh, you did not? You
I,
should.
yeah, I
You,
have to do it. I'll do it
yeah.
someday.
Okay.
Still
Okay.
postponing it every time.
Don't postpone it, because
Yeah.
it's very theoretical when you have to study, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, so
I'll do it.
teaching, something which came, and it actually came as an accident at one point of time. I was just thinking that I want to do something with
Mhm.
my experience. I want to contribute to the society. And my mother is a teacher, so I think I get
Oh,
that blessing and talent from there, because my mother is a teacher, retired teacher. And I got into this. Somebody called me up and they said that, are you okay to talk in this workshop on enterprise architecture with your
Mm.
experience? And then people came in, they liked my session, and I just never looked back. And I took it as an opportunity to speak with so many people. Every weekend I'm busy, right? Every weekend is booked for me. I think I work 7 days a week right now, teaching people, understanding that what exactly is happening. And I'm trying to create a way that whenever I'm teaching, I'm trying to communicate whatever the framework says in a very layman's term so that people can understand. Because what happens is that in IT industry, if somebody is very technical, we try to think that that person is very intelligent. That's a human nature, right? But
Mm.
I feel that if you make things more simple, it's more understandable
Yeah.
for a longer time, right? If
Mm.
I will use complex terminology, being an IT person, you might not be able to resonate or understand. For example, we are doing this interview, right? And people who are going to watch it, in case if you're asking me what is digital transformation, right? If I give you an example that we used to do cash payment and now we are going into Paytm, they'll be able to connect with it, right? They will be
Yes.
immediately able to grasp that, yeah, this is what it is. So that is what I try to do in my teaching methods as well.
Cool. So you teach TOGAF or other things as well?
I teach TOGAF. Sorry, my phone is ringing. So I teach TOGAF. I teach PMP. I have Agile project management as well.
Okay.
And sometimes people also contact me for career development,
Oh,
to take my suggestions. They just contact me. They want to talk to me. What can I do? What is the next thing I can do? All professionals who are coming in. So
okay. Certification is a controversial topic. Like a lot of people say that no, I don't want to get into rut of certifications. It doesn't pay anyway. You're just wasting. You
hmm,
don't learn anything anyway.
hmm.
Oh, and of course, there is another set of people who really chase certifications one after the other. There are some 20 certifications on their LinkedIn profile. What do you say? Like, what is the right way to look at it?
I feel that education is important. Any kind of education, right? Now, education is not only that we take our school degree and our college degree. The problem right now with our adulthood generation is that we stop learning. And I feel that education of anything is going to add value only. The problem is when the company says that, okay, there is a certification happening, people take it as a honeymoon period. They think, okay, I've got break from my work, let me just enjoy, right? But at the same time, the organization should not push people to do the certification they want them to do. I think
Mm.
one should actually look at their own professional roadmap, that where exactly they want to take their career, and then do the certification and see that how it is going to add value. A lot of people who come for my session, they're just taking certification because they have got nominated. So I always tell them that even though you're doing it right now, just use the framework little bit wherever you can, right? You will be able to always be in touch with the knowledge which you have gained in this, and there is no harm. You can take it as an initiative to your boss and get some brownie points in your appraisal, right? That is how it is, something you can do. But I think certification plays a very important role. It gives you a very structured thought process. You can always customize it, right? You can always say who's stopping you to customize it as per your need. So you can definitely do certification, because what is happening is that we all are lost in a whirlwind. Whatever our organization is asking us to do, we are just following that. It has got absorbed as a DNA for us, right? And we have not got the right way of doing things. Whatever the organization is doing, we think that that is the right way of doing things. But these institutes like Open Group, right? They're just not there. They're there because they are able to look at what are the challenges which come in for any kind of transformation project, whether you are trying to work with other industry frameworks or maybe some management frameworks in TOGAF. So they give you a structure that how do you develop an architecture, right? You might not know where exactly I have to start from. I'm just giving an
Mm.
example. You don't know where to start from. So at least the framework will tell you where to start from. And once you gain experience, you can always iterate it. You can always customize it. But in my opinion, any kind of education, whether it's certification, diploma, everybody should invest in their upgradation of their knowledge. If they're not doing it, they're actually stopping themselves to broaden their horizon and look at their careers in a very different way.
Okay. So although you should not go crazy after it, you should continue to study and test yourself and validate
I
yourself.
always feel I attended one training, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People
Mm.
by Stephen Covey. You would have heard about the
Yeah.
book. I actually attended the
Oh, wow.
workshop from Stephen Covey
Wow.
Institute. And there they say that you should always have a vision in mind, right? What do you want out of your career? And when you
Mm.
know that, okay, this is what I want, you should make some short term goals for yourself and say that, okay, for me to meet this short term goal, or for me to meet this long term goal, this is the certification which I should be doing, which will really help me to showcase my skills in a better way. Maybe you have everything in mind, right? You know what to do, but you do not know how to do it, and certification will tell you how to do it. So,
Okay.
don't go crazy, but yes, definitely look for it.
Okay. And also, this certification is a way of establishing that I know this. A 10-minute interview, or 10-minute job interview, the interviewer may not be able to evaluate you so well. But if Amazon says that this guy knows it, then it carries a different
I
weightage.
think differently there. A lot of people come in, do the certification, but they do not have the knowledge, right?
Okay.
So only taking the certification will not help you. You need to have some kind of practical knowledge of applying whatever you have learned. Because I get a lot of people who come for the interview and they say, I have done this certification, I have done that certification, right? Their biodata is full of certification. And when I start asking them questions, it's like zero. They don't have that knowledge, right? It
Okay.
is just the showcase which people want to do. So I would recommend that if you're doing a certification, do one certification. If even if you're doing a certification in like 2 years, but do a certification with all the dedication so that you understand. And when people talk to you, you're not coming across somebody who just did it for papers, right? It has to be genuine, because it's your career. It is not anybody else's career, and you are a brand in yourself. So when people talk and they say, oh, this person is somebody who's a certified enterprise architect, that person has got TOGAF knowledge, got certification. And if somebody comes and asks you, what is enterprise architecture? And you're like, quiet, right? How does it make you feel? You are a brand. Somebody would go back and tell, oh, this person was saying that he has done TOGAF certification, which is very difficult, but doesn't know anything, right?
Hmm.
So one has to have a practical knowledge about it.
Okay. So like there are people who just go beyond the certifications just for collecting them, but as a person, I
Some
should
people
try to
have that
learn and
passion,
use it
trust me.
properly.
Some people have that passion that they want to take many certifications.
Yes.
And at one point of time, I have seen people who come to my sessions, right? I have people who are head of our infrastructure who come and attend, head of technology. I speak to CIOs. They have rich experience, but when it comes to drilling down to the base, right?
Mhm.
That is where they lose it, because they're not able to connect it. So you are taking certification, but if you are not able to have the dots connected,
No
no
use.
use.
Okay. So one should go for these certifications and also focus on what they teach and
Yes.
try to incorporate it properly.
Yes.
That's where it
Take
really
it
helps.
seriously, else don't do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what certification should a fresh graduate look for? Like, what are the range of
I
certifications?
think if any fresh graduate from IT who wants to really get knowledge on what is happening, I think people should have some basic certifications on cloud computing, right? That is something
Mhm.
which is there. What exactly is digital workplace? Some people want to learn coding, right? So they can take their Java certification and other certifications, C++ and all that
Mhm.
certification they can take in case if they are wanting to move into development side. So it all depends when a person is starting a career, right? In case if somebody is coming from an engineering background and getting into development, right?
Mhm.
They work for 2 3 years. I think somebody coming from an engineer background getting into development, I think they should give themselves 3 years to work, and then see they should do their own analysis, sort analysis, that what are their strengths in last 3
Mm.
years, what has been their strength, what are their opportunities areas, what are their weaknesses, what are their threats, and then devise an action plan. That am I somebody who is an individual contributor, I want to move into development side, or am I somebody who's a people's person and I can execute things flawlessly, then they should get into implementation side of it and then see what is available for implementation side of it.
Mm.
But obviously, they would have experience as well from the development side as well and architecture side as well. So it all depends that when you are starting your career, just have basic understanding. Don't go for higher certification. Like in my session, I have people who's coming from a experience of 25 years, and I have a development person who's coming with only 4 or 5 years of experience. Now, when I have to explain what is an
Mm.
architecture governance or maybe governance, it becomes
Mm.
very difficult for a person who is a developer to understand what is governance, because they've just started their career, and I don't blame them, right? It's just that open group wants everybody to know. So I always tell people that you should just do level 1, don't go for level 2 right now. Just understand the terminologies, understand that what the framework has to offer. So always start with basic and then go on to the intermediate and advanced courses. So cloud computing, digital transformation, language certification, even project management,
Okay.
that is very important. And I think people who are coming as a fresh graduate, they should also take certain certifications on the behavioral aspect as well, because that is also very important. Not everybody is a mentor today, right? We all are
Mm.
working from home. So I feel that they should spend time on the behavioral aspects as well, that how one has to be at workplace, not the ideal way. I have a different complete set of mind. Whenever you have some time, I'll talk about it
Okay.
separately. But yes, I think that behavioral aspect will also help people to become better professionals, right? We don't want somebody who's coming to office and just playing politics, or how
Yeah.
it happens in the corporate world. We want to make it a very um, beautiful place for all of us to live in, and that includes our corporate world as well. So I think behavioral aspect trainings are also very important in the beginning itself, because that is where your DNA starts building as a professional.
Okay. And what kind of behavioral training would you suggest? And where should they learn?
I always recommend 7 habits of highly effective people,
Okay.
whomsoever I come across. That training really changed me as a professional. Those 7 habits really change if you really look into it.
Mm.
Then, obviously, if you are somebody who is starting the career, conflict management is something which is very important
Mm.
for us to have. Business skills writing, that is very important. Then, when you are somebody who's entering into a leadership level or mid-level
Mm.
management, then situational leadership by Ken Blanchard is very important training, I feel, because it actually helps you to handle different kind of people who you are going to handle, because it's not the person you are handling, you're actually handling the aspiration of somebody, right?
Yeah.
Their personal aspirations and professional aspirations. So the world is changing now. Earlier we used to think that somebody who has a very high IQ is the best manager. Today we look at people who have very high SQ, which is a spiritual question, right?
Mm.
If somebody has that, that person becomes, you feel more close to that person, right? That, well, not that person really motivated me or led me to my career goals. So you need to have those kind of trainings as well to
Okay.
nurture yourself.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So, how would you advise somebody of some students studying in college? They have a lot of time in these pandemic days.
Hmm.
How should they utilize this time?
First of all, I would want them to exercise.
Okay.
Right? Not
Okay.
sit in front of TV mostly. Exercise, that is one thing which actually helps you to do a lot of things in your life, because when you go for a run, you exercise, right? You feel happy. That is the priority. We forget that it's we don't have to become robots and we don't have to
Yeah.
become couch potatoes, right? So exercise is something which I always recommend. Secondly, I there is so much of information available on YouTube, right? I feel that make a timetable for yourself and say that, okay, today I will only study about what is digital transformation. I will only study about what is DevOps. I will only study about, okay, how does IT industry work? Or maybe pick up how manufacturing industry works, how FMCG works, how retail works, right? So they can actually pull up these kind of little bit topics and study about them, make their notes, and just have a timetable that 1 hour I will only spend to learn about what is available. Maybe learn about different frameworks as a high level overview. So then tomorrow, if somebody talks, they will say, okay, I know little bit of it.
Mhm.
Not waste time, right? I do not know how many students today want to read. I read a lot, so I always recommend that read a lot. Okay, you are not a reading person, then watch YouTube. You have so much of information lying there. Learn what is available. What are the upcoming trends in IT industry? What are the upcoming jobs in IT industry? Because then it will give you an idea that where do you want to take your career forward.
Okay. You said for students should spend their time learning from YouTube or from other sources. But
Yeah.
the main problem for students today is there's so many information sources and so many topics to learn. That's really overwhelming. Like you don't know if you should learn DevOps or cloud or machine learning or UI or front end. Like there's a wide range, and most of the students I've seen are really uh, they don't know which way should they should go. And even if you go to YouTube, you search for one topic, there's so many videos.
Hmm.
90% of them are nonsense.
Hmm.
So how do you tackle this problem?
See, I take a very structured approach when I want to learn something. So I'll give an example. I wanted to learn about Jira. Okay,
Mm.
Jira is a tool which you use for software development where you have your stories and everything. So I wanted to learn about Jira, and I said that I don't want to take certification because that's not something which I use, but I want to have knowledge. Now, when I said Jira, introduction to Jira, there were so many videos which came up, like you said, that there is so much of information which is lying there. So I was just thinking that where do I start from? Okay, so whenever you want to learn something, right, I always say there is an approach of five wives and one husband, right? So you, that five W's and one how, that is how I take it,
Okay.
right? So you learn about what is it, when was it introduced, where it is being used, why it is being used, and how it is being used. So if you take that approach, it gives you a very structured way to learn something. Because in case if anybody asks you, they're going to ask you question around why, what, how, when, right? So
Yes.
you should learn about that and just take whichever video you feel comfortable with, any trainer who's training, you feel more connected to, just pick up that video and learn about it. But this is the approach I always take when I want to learn something new.
So when you watch a video or you read from somewhere, you look for these questions, answers to these
Yes.
questions.
Yes.
You don't miss that.
Yeah.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
really good.
Otherwise, you'll be lost because there is so much of information. So just give that structured thought, and you'll know. Then you become curious, right? You want to be curious that, okay, this is why it is being used. The first question always comes is why. Why I want to use Jira? What does it do? What is available in Jira? When was it established? Who uses it? How do you use it? See, you have
Okay.
all the answers.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
You've given good inputs and you told us about your journey. So it's a very motivating journey. Like you have such a rich experience in various parts of the industry.
Yeah.
You have also told us a lot about how one should develop oneself, the certifications, and also otherwise. It's really, I'm sure our students will be able to learn from this.
I would be glad in case if they can learn at least one thing out of this interview. I'll be full of gratitude to you to giving me that chance to come here and giving me this platform to speak.